The end of my spending week is here again, and it's time to come clean about how much I spent, how much I saved, and how much progress I made toward my goals. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I would really love to hear from you. So it's the end of the week, and this is when I do my budget update for the week. And I'm going to start, like I always do, with cash dump. So this pouch here is what I keep my weekly cash in. At the start of the week, I had $25, and I went to the bank and took out another 100. So I had 125. Left in here at the end of the week, I have 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, $55. So 55 from 125 means that I spent $70. But I also have some cash left over that is going to go into some savings challenges. So I'm going to start with the change. And this change, all my change every week, I put toward a Christmas goal, and it's not really a specific goal. It's just that I'm accumulating it to redeem for an Amazon gift card with which to purchase Christmas presents. So this goes in. I'll seal up the bag here. I have no idea how much is in here. I have to estimate it's, I don't know, $60, maybe $70. So a pretty healthy start. And as I'm recording this, it's April 24th, which means Christmas is only 8 months away. It's hard to believe that we're already 1/3 of the way to Christmas 2025 when it feels like Christmas 2024 was just a couple of weeks ago. But here we are, so better to be prepared. The other thing that I'm doing to save money up for Christmas is saving all of my $1 bills. Now, there is a $5 bill in here, and the reason is because this $5 bill is an H buck. And the letters on the $1 and $2 bills are very prominent. They're here, and it tells you where that bill was distributed. So J is for Kansas City, K is for Dallas, Texas, E is for Richmond, Virginia, so on and so forth. On the newer dollar bills, they just have the seal of the Federal Reserve here, so you have to look over here to see where they were distributed. H is for either Minneapolis or St. Louis. I get those two backward all the time. One is H, the other is I. And both H's and I's are really rare. So because I had a $5 H buck, I decided that I was going to put this toward the Christmas challenge as well. So let's see how much I'm putting toward it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, $18 this week. So what I do with all of this cash, all these small bills, is I put them in this pouch for the end of the month. So next weekend, that is not this weekend, but the weekend after, I will film a video where I stuff all of this into the Letterbucks challenge. So I've got another $5 bill in here. This is a G-Buck that I saved from another week. So this is looking pretty thick. And that is how I am accumulating cash for Christmas. So I'll put all of these away. This is now empty and ready to go for next week. And these two, oops, zip this up. These two go back in my special hidey hole. And then it's time to talk about the budget. So I'm going to get set up for that, and we'll do that here coming up. The first thing I want to do before I get into the income and spending is talk about my goals. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I started out the year working on fully funding my emergency fund. Once that was done, I worked on my BLIP fund, and that is for things that aren't quite emergencies, but are budget surprises that I might just need a little bit of money for. And I fully funded that last week. So now all of my efforts are going toward my Roth IRA and the big move. So for my Roth IRA, I'm funding that out of the money that I save on game night, which is Mondays, and my savings challenge book videos, which come out on Wednesdays. The big move is a different savings challenge, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's get into the budget. So this is my monthly budget overview for April. If you watched my video last week, you might have noticed that I neglected to write in that I'd received paycheck 1. I recorded it elsewhere in my cash flow transactions, but I didn't put it in the budget, so now I've added that in here. For this week, I don't have any more income to report or to record, but I do have bills to fill in. Now, PUD, which is electricity. I was expecting that I was going to have to pay something this week. I finally got my account set up and set up online. It was a whole saga of getting that established. And now that I have, I was told that I was going to need to pay an account setup fee and that that was going to be due on about April 26th. But when I went and looked at my account online, I didn't see that I owed anything. It said the balance due was 0. The next bill will generate in early May. So I am going to mark this as a 0 and just wait for the May bill, and then I will pay whatever they want for setting up the account. I did get my haircut last week on Good Friday, and the total amount for that came to $83. So not quite the $100 that I was expecting, which is good. Prescriptions were $78. And the reason that they were so much lower is that so I get a 90-day supply of my prescriptions, and one of them, instead of applying it toward my insurance deductible, she said, "Do you want to just use GoodRx?" And I said, "Well, what's the difference in price?" And it turned out that it was like a third of the price. So I said, "Yes, please." So that cut that expense down a lot. I was very happy with that. Affirm, which is my cell phone hardware, I paid that. That was $43 as expected. And Visible, which is my cell phone service plan, came out. That was $35. So I'm done with all of the bills that I planned for and one that I hadn't, but I'm not going to total this out just yet in case anything else unexpected comes in, because I've got a little bit of a buffer this month. In fact, I have a big buffer this month, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I always save this for the end of the month, just in case anything else surprises me. All right, so wallet we'll come back to. Stockpiles we will come back to. Savings and extra debt from this last week of Savings Challenge videos, from game night on Monday and the books on Wednesday, I had $301 go to my Roth IRA. So nothing else I can do here for now, so I'll move over to the cash flow tracker. And I didn't really have all that many transactions come through my checking account, and they were all withdrawals. So I had the brokerage Roth IRA for $308. That was last week's. Then I had that withdrawal that I talked about. That was $100. And then I had another deposit or a transfer to the brokerage for the Roth IRA for this week, and that was for $301. The reason I couldn't record this transaction last week is because it hadn't actually come through my checking account. Nothing cleared on Good Friday. The markets were closed, so it bumped it to this week, but I've captured it now. So that's it for cash flow. Not a whole lot going on in the checking account. So let's move over to the expenses. And I didn't have too many this week, but I did have a few. So let's see. So there was one from last week that posted that I wasn't even, I didn't even remember doing it, and that was DoorDash. So even though this was last week's, I'm just going to count it toward this week since I've already done last week, and I'm not going to go back and fix it. So that was food, and that was $30.12. On the 18th, I went to McDonald's. Food, $13.75. On the 20th, DoorDash again, $28.06. On the 21st, grocery shopping, and that was $81.84. And then on the 23rd, DoorDash again, and that was $16.79. I DoorDashed breakfast to work because I didn't have time to eat it before I ran out the door. I was running late that day. And then lastly is weekly cash. This doesn't get a category. It mostly goes to food, but I don't track it because it's cash, and that was $70. So let's get out the calculator and add up how much I spent this week. Oops, the calculator is dead. Oh, there it is. Okay, goodness. Scared me. Okay, $30.12, $13.75, $28.06, $81.84, $16.79, and $70. $240.56. So I'm going to color code these real quick. This kind of ugly puce mild liner. And then I'm going to go back to the front and record that number, $240.56. And I spent even less this week. It's just that I had that transaction from last week that didn't come through, but then it just means that I would have been further over budget last week had it come in and posted last week. Okay, so before I leave this page, stockpiles and savings and extra debt. So initially, when I did the April budget, I had planned on several things for these stockpiles. I wanted a jersey for the Seattle Sounders because I really liked the design, and when it was released back in February, March, I was totally enamored with it and thought, gotta have it. $175 plus our crippling sales tax here meant it would have been about $200. I also thought I might need more furniture for my apartment, so I budgeted $500 for that, and another $500 for a weekend trip. None of that's happening. I'm not getting the jersey. I have fallen out of love with it, just because I would rather have the cash towards something else. There's a bigger goal in mind. I do still like the jersey, but I can't justify spending $200 on it. Furniture, I ended up not needing that. So, I mean, would I like some more furniture? Sure, maybe, but it's not an absolute need. So I'm not spending the money on that. And then the weekend trip, I decided to push that into May, maybe even June, and I will use a different pot of money for that. So that freed up the $1,200. Also, I had budgeted $1,000 here, and this was not for savings, this was for debt, because I did carry over some credit card balances from last month, just kind of a hangover from the move. And I don't carry revolving balances typically, so I wanted to make sure that I got that paid off. But then what happened is that I ended up getting a tax refund. I was able to fully fund the BLIP fund, which freed up other cash from elsewhere. So ultimately, I have a bit of a surplus. So what I've decided to do is save. I'm going to start on saving for the big move, which is a $15,000 savings goal. And I have created a new tracker for myself. This is for YouTube monetization. As many of you know, in order to be monetized on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and a certain number of watch hours. I think it's like 3,000 or 4,000 in the last 12 months. So I'm not exactly close to either. I'm almost halfway to the subscriber count, and I haven't even looked at the watch hours lately. But I've decided that what I'm going to do is save $5 per subscriber. So because I have quite a few of you already, and I appreciate every single one, I am going to start with this tracker already partially filled out. In fact, I'm behind on one because I crossed the 420 threshold this week, so I need to fill in another one. And then what I'm going to do with this money is put it into high yield savings in a separate pot from the emergency fund, and that will go toward the big move. So this altogether, when it's all filled out, will be $5,000 because 1,000 subscribers times $5 each, $5,000, and that will be going toward a life-changing goal of mine. It is the biggest goal that I've ever set for myself in a lot of ways, and it's something that I want very much, and that means a lot to me. And everyone who has subscribed, who watches my videos, and who has helped me along the way so far. If you've bought things in my Etsy shop, or just left a kind comment, that really does mean a lot to me. And so I wanted to do something that is also a meaningful way to kind of combine that with a savings goal. So that's what I'm doing. Haven't even hole punched this yet. I barely got it colored in this week, and I really don't like to color just because I'm not very good at it, and you can kind of see that here as I've gone outside the lines. But this was the best way I thought to do it, so that's what I'll be doing going forward. So I do have other things to talk about as it relates to savings, but let me break the video here just so it doesn't get too long, and I'll come back and talk about that next. This is the savings section of my binder, and I show this most weeks just because I'm always adding to my savings. And so in this section, I have several different subsections. So first is the emergency fund. I did a emergency fund builder worksheet and then filled this in with all of the different categories and how much I thought I would need for each of these. Come next year, I'm going to reevaluate this and see if I need to add more to my emergency fund. But for this year, at least, I'm calling it completed. And so once I did that, I had set my goals, and then I made this tracker for getting it all the way full. Got that fully funded. Then I moved on to and this is the tracker for it. I had hole punched this on the wrong side, so it's not a full spread. But the BLIP fund is a full spread. And this fund is for, like I was saying earlier, just anything that comes up that's just a surprise in the budget. So something that isn't a life-altering emergency, but that wasn't planned for. So this is fully funded. This has $2,400 in it. And so now my next priority is working on the Roth IRA. And I've got that monetization tracker hole punched in the binder, but I need to print out a savings tracker for it. So the IRA, I'm using my Sloth IRA Savings Challenge. This is available in my Etsy shop as a digital download. It has two versions to it. One is save $7,000 and one is save $8,000. If you are age 50 or older this year, you can save $8,000 toward your IRA. 49 and younger, $7,000 toward your IRA. So I am going to add in the money that I added this week, and that was on I think it was the 21st, $301. So that brought me to $2,021 for contributions so far this year. Of course, it fluctuates as the markets move. And now I can stamp out 3 more sloths to indicate progress here. And I actually had the stamp at the ready this week, so that's good. Okay. So this guy, and this dude. Okay. So that's $2,000 out of the $7,000 total, 2 full lines. That feels really good. I'm going to continue plugging along at $300 or thereabouts a week until this is fully funded. So to get $5,000, let's see. How much is that going to be? 5,000 divided by 300 is, so about 16 more weeks, 17 more weeks, and I'll have this fully funded for the year, which is exciting. And then all of my efforts are going to be going toward the big move. So if you want to see how that plays out, please do consider subscribing. I will save $5 if you do. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. If you're interested in any of the worksheets that I use, most of them are available in my Etsy shop as digital downloads. I also have physical products there, savings challenges, savings challenge game books, dice games, things like that. So check that out if you haven't already. A link is down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, especially those of you who hang with me to the end. That really does mean a great deal to me. So next time I will see you will be on Monday for game night, then Wednesday for the savings challenge videos, and then I'll be right back here at the end of next week to close out the month of April. Next weekend, that is the weekend of May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I will be not only closing out the budget, but I'll be stuffing the letterbox challenges, and we'll get started with May, where I cash stuffed. If you haven't seen the May planning video, I'm going to try with cash stuffing for May, and we'll see how it goes. So Stay tuned for that, and until I see you in the next one, take care.